So here is our payroll calculation cards. Okay, element entries already we discussed. If you want to add some new elements to the employee, we'll be going for element entries. And here is the payroll calculation cards. Payroll calculation cards. So element entries are the actual element information that are associated with the person. That are associated. You can also add the element entries from the navigator. And you can also load it element entries to the user by using payroll batch loaders. Call it as a PBL, payroll batch loaders. Okay. And then you can go for, this is our payroll calculation cards. Payroll calculation cards holds the payroll calculation information associated with the person. How will you calculate certain deductions, benefits, pensions? Okay. So at least one card is required. Where do you will set this calculation card is in tax reporting unit. When you are working with the tax reporting units, you are going to have the go to implementation projects. Here, manage legal reporting unit, calculation cards. You will be selecting your legal entity. Sometimes in the interviews also they'll ask you what is LRU, legal reporting unit. Legally, whatever the things are reported for a particular legal entity, then it will be defined here. So here you are going to assign your calculation card. Calculation rules, here it is. So last time we executed payroll, US payroll, right? We got automatically US payroll. Here it is. Then according to that, it will be working. So you can also go to payroll calculations and perform. And this is our tax reporting unit. Just now I have shown you calculation cards here. Just 1 minute. It seems you don't have payroll. Yes. No, this is not possible, Balaji. We cannot create payroll statutory unit without legal entity, because PSU means indirectly legal entity one. First, you have to create a legal entity. There is a checkbox called PSU. Enable it. Payroll statutory unit. Without a legal entity, there is no question of a PSU. Yes, Amir, what is the first process of payroll life cycle? First process is already we discussed, right? We executed entire payroll cycle last time. In the payroll flow, first process is a calculation, right? Inside of the calculation, we have seen different options. Calculation, distribution, this all. Anyway, it comes again here. Naveen, difference between UK payroll and others. See, Naveen, payroll module is different from one country to another country. Instead of country, the word, it's better to have a word called legislation. Legislation word. Okay. So UK legislation. Let's say you are implementing payroll module to UK client. Then you need to understand in UK, as per UK government, how they are implementing the payroll, like how they will deduct the taxes to the employees, and what is the procedure, what are standard elements in UK, and what are the standard employee deductions or earnings. Okay, these all things we have to understand legislation rules for the elements. Then we have to go for implement that. Same thing, you are implementing Fusion to the US client, then you need to understand US legislation elements and rules, taxes and all, and you have to implement. So payroll module, you will find a lot of changes from one legislation to another legislation. Whereas other modules like global HR, we don't find much. Talent management, obviously, no changes much. But options again different, because options management is nothing but a leaves, right? Options plans. Like in UK, the holiday leaves are different, and other options like Middle East countries, there will be a HUS plan. Leave plans are different. So that's how the differentiation based on the legislation. Next, GL costing is nothing but when you run the payroll, that's a salary, whatever salary accounts are generated, cost will be calculated, payroll cost. That's department wise, element wise, business unit wise, LDZ wise, the payroll cost will be calculated. This complete salary accounts we need to transfer to GL module. That's why you have a key flux field in payroll module, cost allocation key flux field, and financials accounting key flux field in GL module. So we need to transfer the journals from HCM to financials here. Yes, you can create always. You can always create legal entity without checking the PSU. But your legal entity is different. Legal employer is different. Legal entity means just office. You created an office. I think I have clearly explained in that video. So you people are not going through the video. You don't have the patience to go through the video. That's a problem. So while creating the task, you please go through that video again. There will be a definite, because that is very important. Legal entity, legal employer, and PSU. Legal entity is nothing but an organization where your company has registered, but without employees. If you want to hire employee, you have to make it as a legal employer. You have to make it as a legal employer. But when you make it as a legal employer, obviously you will have a permission to hire employee. When you hire employee, you must pay the salaries to them. Either that should be the PSU, or some other PSU, it should be associated. It should be associated with some other PSU. That's why whenever you check the checkbox called legal employer, definitely it will ask you, check this checkbox or associate with some other PSU. Definitely it will ask us. If you say my legal entity is just legal entity, it's no more legal employer, then it won't ask you any PSU. It means you can't hire employee and no question. If no employee, no payroll. No PSU is required. The moment when you check the checkbox called legal employer, then it will ask you, is it PSU or it should be associated with some other PSU? Because when you hire employee, you should pay the salary to the employee. Then you should have association of PSU, or this legal employer itself is a PSU. Okay. So where we were talking about, guys, that global HR is completed. Any doubts here? Still, I'll give the time. So let's not come back to global HR and disturb our sequence of process. Next, come back to the payroll. We were talking about calculation cards. So we did the calculation of cards here. So whenever you would like to go for deduct some access, then calculation card will be attached. So generally, whenever you go to your payroll module, so when you want to work with the payroll module, what are the roles are required? Two roles. One is payroll manager, add role, payroll administrator, and payroll manager. If you have payroll administrator role, then you can do the setups, but you can't run the payroll. You can do only setups, means you can create elements and all. If you have payroll manager role, you can run the payroll. You can't do the setups, but you can run the payroll options here. Okay, fine. So I've shown you the personal payment method where we will configure. And what is personal payment method? Nothing but employee personal bank account details to make the salaries to their account. To make the salaries to their account, here it is. Okay. Next, third party payment method. If the people who are not on our payroll, and if you want to make the payment to them, like employee who is employee spouse or any other legal things or any other things are there, then will be used. Here it is. Okay, that's called third party payment methods. So you have to define third party and third party payment methods. It has to be defined. For example, if employee salary is some amount, 97% employee would like to take, that is personal payment method, and 3% he would like to deduct some charity that comes. This charity means some organization or person. So they would like to pay the amount for this particular one, then it will be used. Here it is. Then it will be used. Here it is. Third party payment method. Then we talked about payroll definition. Retro pay and proration methods are very simple. Whenever you are going to, we'll see first proration methods. Proration methods are nothing but when you hire an employee in the mid of period. Generally, if you hire an employee starting of the payroll period, no problem. No problem. So you can go for full salary. But if you hire an employee in the mid of pay period, then you will be using this. Then you are going to use this proration rules. Then you are going to use this proration rules. Here it is. Mid of payroll, if you are hiring employee, mid of payroll, mid of period, you are going to terminate an employee, then it will be used. If you are going to terminate an employee, you are going to this. Or if you are going to change the employee salary in the mid of period also, it will be used. Prorations. So proration and retroactive pay. So proration is the mechanism. It is used to calculate the earnings and deductions amounts whenever the payroll is changes during a payroll period. When the payroll will be changed, there will be three different scenarios. What are that scenarios? When you hire employee in the mid of period, or when you terminate an employee in the mid of period, or when you change the salary to the employee in the mid of period. Three different scenarios are there. So then how will you calculate the salary? For example, you hire an employee on 21st. Then you have to calculate the employee salary from 21st to 28th. From next month means from March onwards, no problem. From March onwards, no issue. So you can go for making the full salary to your employees, but not now, right? So that's the reason it will be working. Same thing, if you terminate an employee on 10th, you are supposed to pay the salary from 1st to 10th. That calculation we have to do. That for that, the formulas are defined by Oracle. We have nothing to do. That is a standard formulas provided by Oracle. We need to just attach that. So we will be using two things. That is proration. Then what is retroactive? Retroactive is very simple. Let's say employee has employees having salary 30,000. In January we have paid 30,000. February we have paid 30,000. April we have paid. Sorry, March period we have paid. Now in April what happened? 10,000 hike has given. They given the hike and 10,000. Now what client says, this 10,000 is applicable from January. They are supposed to give from January itself, but somehow they have missed. Okay, so they wanted to go for that apply from the January. From the January they would like to go for apply. So then what happened? January 10,000, February 10,000, March 10,000. Total how much amount? 30,000. Okay. So in April, you are supposed to pay 40,000 salary plus the previous arrears, 30,000. Total 70,000 you have to pay to employee from May onwards. This will be the amount you are supposed to pay to your employee in April. From May onwards, as usual, 40,000. That is here. Then remain. So if there are, it's almost like an arrears. If there are any arrears, you would like to make that arrears payment to your previous employees, then it will be used. Okay. So whenever you want to, this is retroactive. The previous one is proration. This is retroactive. And proration, retroactive. If you want to implement this too, what you have to do is you have to create an event group for the proration. There are predefined groups. 99% we will use existing groups only. We don't go for create any new groups. This event group for proration, event group for retroactive pay processing. So you have to go to the task, manage event groups. If you want to create a new group, you can create. Okay. And where do you attach this proration and retroactive? That already I have shown you in the manage element. Yes, Amir, you will be attaching this in the manage element task. Go to the task, manage elements. While working with the element, it will ask you to attach so select your element, US legislative data group, going for standard earnings. So some of the things, as we discussed, it is not possible to go ahead with practically. So you have to go for, those are important. I'm not saying that that is not important. That is important, but you should go for theoretically strong. So we can't do anything That features will be provided only for commercial clients, not for, because as this is a vision instance given by Oracle just for practicing purpose. So here you can see proration rules and retroactive changes. If you say this element is valid for proration, then it will ask you what is the proration group and proration units and proration rate conversion. Rate conversion is only for in case if you are using foreign currency transactions, then this is applicable. It's not for others, not for other options. Okay, the same thing for retroactive changes here. Same thing for retroactive changes over here. So you have to provide that group name. So if you want to create a group, then we have to go to standard task here. Manage event group. No, not this one. So event group will be created separate. It's not here. Somewhere we will see in the calculations. Let me check it. This payroll work area is not yet connected. We'll see, fine. That's actually the definition point of view. That is what actually proration and retroactive. And if you want to implement that, we have to use the event group for the element. Okay, fine. So any other doubts in the second module, payroll? So you will be running the quick pay. Difference between quick pay and standard payroll is quick pay will be executed only for one employee. Standard payroll you are going to execute for multiple employees. you are going to execute for multiple employees. Prepayment is nothing but this all are the task of our payroll. Last time we executed payroll, right? When you run the standard payroll here, see, you can see that prepayment here. So this is the process. Amir, you are asking the what is the starting process for payroll? Here it is, calculate payroll. Before that, it is going to verify the retroactive notification report. This is not a process, a report. And you can see some changes, retroactive and changes it will verify. And it's going to verify the retroactive reports. These are standard reports. When we talk about the process point of view, calculate payroll, that is the first process. But again, these two are reports, gross to net report, verify reports. Okay. So after that, then you will see the payments. Here itself, you can see the prepayments. That's what we are talking now here, prepayments. This is prepayments and payroll tasks and reports. So prepayment is nothing but what system will do, it will verify before you are paying the salary to your employees. Before you distribute your salaries to the employees, it will check and it will verify the amount is sufficient and everything is fine or not. And if everything is done, then the next step is a distribute payments options. Next step is a distribute payment options and the standard process will be following here. Before you go for make the payment, it will be verified. Before you go for make the payment, it will be verified. Prepayment process over here it is. It will check all our personal payment methods, everything is available or not. So once prepayment process is done, then it will start paying the amounts to that particular account, particular method. Okay. So any other doubts in the second module, payroll? Pay value and amount. Yes. Pay value is like when you are going for attach any new element. For example, whenever you search an employee, generally you will go for hire an employee and attach the payroll and attach the salary basis. When you do that, what happened? Basic element will be attached. Whatever is there, basic element that will be assigned. Just 1 minute. So whenever you go to manage element entries, you have the basic elements and you want to add any new elements like non-recurring elements. If you want to add something, it can be added here. And any taxation cards, see deduction cards you can see here. Here you can see the deduction cards and all here. So whenever you go for add any new element, then it will ask you the amount or pay value. So pay value might be different. For example, you said amount is $3. The pay value might be some other new values like $240, 240 rupees or something different. Okay. So generally pay value will be considered. Most of the times we will be using the pay value only. Whenever you attach, for example, bonus you are attaching. So then it will ask you to enter the pay value. What exactly you are paying to your employee. That is the value of the payment, what you are doing to the employee. This you are asking, right? Pay value. So you don't have amount here. You will have only pay value for some of the elements because that is mandatory, but not the amount. So that is in the payroll module. And options management talent, we given maximum. I don't think so. We'll find over here differentiations. And technically, we talked about a spreadsheet data loader, HCM data loader. Someone has asked me to go for payroll data loader and payroll batch loader, but I don't think so. That's because we did, if you say we have involved in PDL and PBL, that again it comes under payroll module. I have to see that. But you can go through some documentation related to, but payroll batch loader is basically to add your elements to the employees. For example, bonus element is there, but bonus amount is different from one employee to another employee. So you want to add attach to all the people, then it will be used. Payroll batch loader for element creation, element update, this all purpose. Okay. So if anybody would like to go through the documentation and understand, better to say that we are not involved in the payroll data loading, but HDL way only it will be easy. Okay, yes. And guys, let's have the say any other doubts here. I thought of I'll cover the technical part of also today, but it's 9:30. I have another appointment here. Yes, Balaji, quick pay is for one employee. Quick pay is one of the payroll. When you want to run the no, not bonus. Bonus is the element. See, one employee has resigned. You want immediate settlement. So then what you have to do? You have to run the payroll for that employee only and pay the amount and close. That's what quick pay. And bonus, these all are elements. You want to attach to the employees, then it will be used. Most probably will take next week. Saturday, I will explain payroll data loader and payroll batch loader. I will try to execute practically, because that payroll model we could not find all the things, templates we have to download, but it's easy only, but we are not able to get the templates. That's a problem. Direct payment method, Amir, where exactly this is direct payment method? You have only three types of payment methods: organization payment method, personal payment method, third party payment method. So where you have direct payment method, maybe in some interviews they might have asked this question. Then when they ask you some question, you need to elaborate. See, very simple. If they ask you what is direct payment method, you need to ask them to elaborate more, because you have to say, I have come across organization, personal and third party. I could not find direct payment method. Can you please elaborate the question more so that I can give the clarity answer? That way you have to interact with the interviewer. When they just say, because the naming conventions, maybe that word somewhere it will be there, but we should understand exactly in which area it comes, right? It's not like they give some two keywords and we can search and all, right? So there will, direct payment method will be somewhere in some other place, so we need to ask them and elaborate that more. Okay, fine. So fast formulas and payroll data loader, batch loader, next Saturday will be, every Saturday will be having the sessions. At least 30 minutes to 2 hours will take the session. For technical, I thought of taking today, but 2 hours, almost 9:30, I have an office today. So it's not possible for me to continue after 9:30. So we'll take it on Saturday again. Saturday, same time. And meeting ID will be sharing through WhatsApp groups. How we have intimated today, same way we'll intimate through that. That time we'll discuss again the project documentations, interview questions. Maximum interview questions we have covered. See, the interview questions, whatever I have explained, it comes from my Excel sheets only. So most of the people will ask me, tell me some interview questions, what they'll ask in the interview. See, go through this. I have given the list of all actions. These all are important only. I've already filtered the things and I entered in the Excel sheet in the sequence order. Same thing you have to explain in the interview point of view, that they'll expect. Fine, guys. Thank you. So all these videos you will find in the RTL online training. I'll be uploading tomorrow, not today. So I'll be uploading tomorrow. Every Saturday, whatever the videos are there, that will be uploading, because these all are not for one batch, right? For the previous batches, and some US and UK people are not able to attend this time. So they are supposed to access. It's difficult for us to remember, share across the email IDs. You can access from the YouTube channel. Okay. Thank you. Let's see you again on Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. I'll update the, most probably meeting ID will be same, or if new, I'll update through WhatsApp groups. Thank you.